joining me. This is Fly My Mavic, and this video has taken me a few days. I've done a few different versions of this video. Not quite sure why. Because I don't really know what to say. I decided to go and buy the Mavic Mini. I've been looking for one since before Christmas. I've been waiting for the right time to come along, and I managed to grab myself a good bargain, and I picked up the Fly More package, 3 batteries, etc, etc, the charger. Now since then, obviously with lockdown going on, I've not really had much of a chance to fly it. So I'm not really an expert on how well it flies. Other than the few times I have, I've had no issues with it. It's been actually a really good quad. But the Fly More package comes with this case. If you've not got the Fly More package, believe me, you're not missing out on anything, because this case is awful. You got your controller, your battery charger, and your quad goes in there. That's it. There's nowhere to put cables, nowhere to put phones, unless you sort of squash them on the top. So if you've not bought the Fly More package, just buy yourself a couple of extra batteries and the charger. I went out and I purchased another case for it. Now, as I said, this video isn't about the Mavic Mini. If you want to know about the Mavic, there are hundreds of videos on there. Just want to point out a couple of things that I really sort of don't like about the Mavic Mini, and a couple of things I do like. And then there's going to be a trip to the DJI Mavic Mini forum to show you that some of the problems that we've been having with the Mavic Mini. This case is really nice. It's got space to control the quad, etc, etc. Oh, phone's going off there. And also, if you got these cases and didn't realise, it's got a little space at the back there as well for putting bits and pieces in. Now, the first thing I noticed about this quad is the fact that the propellers are screwed on with screws, not clip-on as you would get with, say for instance, the Mavic Pro. And for that, you need to carry around with you in your toolbox or in your flight case little screwdriver. But I wouldn't try and change these screws out down the local field. You want to go sit in your car, and because if you lose one of these screws here, you're going to be, well, I mean, it does come with spares if you do happen to lose one, providing of course you brought the little pack with you. As you can see, it's got the screws in there for it. So no clip-on props, they are screwed on, and they are marked, of course, which one goes where, etc. The other thing I don't like about it is this front cover. It's a little bit fiddly to get on and off and try and keep it all straight. It does take a little bit of getting used to, and you always seem to think that you haven't quite sort of got it in place properly. The floppy props even. DJI tell you, if you look in the flight case, it's really, really small. There's actually a set of instructions in the flight case as to how to put the props. And that's important because, well, it's important because there is an issue, or there may be an issue with the way they're stored, an issue with the props, which we'll go over to shortly on the DJI forum. Otherwise, I mean, it has been fun flying. I've really enjoyed it. As I say, I've been out 3 or 4 times on the local field. It is quite nice. Max speed's about 18 in standard mode, 8 mile an hour in C mode, and the most I've got is about 28.5 mile an hour in sport mode. Batteries are supposed to last 30 minutes, but I call absolute crap on that because I can't get 30 minutes. The most I've got is about 24 to 26 minutes. Not sure why that is. They are brand new batteries. I've only had, I think, 7, 6 and 5 charges on them. So DJI's claim of 30 minutes isn't quite true. In fact, I'd probably get longer flight time on the Mavic Pro, but obviously bigger battery, but more weight. But there are problems, and that's the one thing that I wish I'd known about before I brought the Mavic Mini. Going to jump onto the DJI forum now, and I'll take you through some of the posts and some of the issues that the Mavic Mini has been having. Okay, so here we are over at the forum for the Mavic Mini. This is DJI's official forum and does have input from the DJI support team. And this is the issue that I want to raise with you if you're looking at buying a Mavic Mini, or if you bought a Mavic Mini and you're not aware of this issue. It's to do with motor speed error, and as you can see, you are if you're on the latest software version, which hopefully you should be, you get this motor speed error: land or return to home promptly. After powering off, replace the propeller on the beeping ESC. Basically, when you land it, the little the ESC will make a beep noise, and the propeller that it says is affected will sort of move slightly. And the reason for this is because pilots who've been flying the Mini have had what's called uncontrolled descents. and motor overspeed, where the motor's moving really, really fast, but the quad is still dropping out of the sky. Not dropping like a stone, just dropping down in altitude. Now, they're saying that this is because that people aren't storing the quad properly. Remember I showed you the picture of how to put the props when you do it. And they're saying that it's making the props misshapen, so it's causing issues in flight. But then others have then obviously piped in onto the forum and said, for DJI to publish this message verifies that improper storage in the Flymore case, remember I showed you the Flymore case, is one of the causes for deformed propellers. Now, obviously, I've never used the Flymore case. I went straight to the orange DJI case that I showed you earlier on. Others have said that this one here. How is it possible that 99% of users have the same problem with the rear left engine? That's a good question. How is it possible that it seems to always be the rear left engine? This chap thinks there's something wrong with the firmware. It doesn't work the way it should. Yesterday he hit a tree branch, propeller broke in half, but he didn't get any kind of engine error. Now, someone further down says because your motor didn't overspeed, so you wouldn't have got the error. But others are saying that they've swapped the props between front and back, and the message didn't move with the prop. So if you moved it from rear left to front right, then surely the firmware should mention the error should come up and say, you know, error on the front right one, etc. This chap here, he had an uncontrolled descent. During this descent, the four motors were spinning down, so it dropped height, of course, a height error in the DAT file. After this, still flying with the same 8 blades, never happened again. So, you know, what caused his? So I'm not saying that this is something that, I mean, it's that chap who said 99%, it's just of those who have reported the issue. I've flown, as I said, several times, and I've never had any major issues whatsoever. Even in sport mode, I did have a climb where it stopped and sort of rose up a little bit rather than sort of coming down. But no, I've not actually had an issue with it. So I'm not saying that this should put you off buying the Mavic Mini, but if you are planning on buying one, then maybe you need to jump on the forum and maybe have a read for yourself and determine whether or not you are happy enough to buy a quad that someone on here described as a lemon. Okay, so that's the forum and the problem that the Mavic Mini seems to be suffering at the moment. But like I said, you know, it's entirely down to you whether or not you want to either go ahead and buy one, or if you've got one, not fly it yet until things may be resolved. I went out shopping for bits and pieces for the Mavic. You always do. You get a new quad, you think, oh, what little accessory can I buy? And probably for me, the most important one is this one, a little set of height and landing gear for the Mavic Mini. It basically just clips on the bottom like this, and then it raises the quad off the ground by sort of, you know, an inch and a half. It is good because where I take off from is quite rough ground, and I noticed the other day that the camera was stuck while it was flying, and I had a gimbal message, gimbal motor overload or gimbal stuck. Brought it back, and by the time I brought it back, it sort of freed itself. And the reason being was when I'd taken off, I must have hit a small stone or, you know, something just underneath the camera. It hadn't gone through its complete initialization properly. So unless you're going to use like a landing pad, this is quite a handy thing. The other thing I bought for it were these. These go on the propellers and keep them in place. But with this squash props, etc., I'm now sort of thinking, you know, will this little rubber cover that goes on like that, will that cause the props to sort of deform in storage? I mean, I don't need to use them because, as I say, if I actually got I'll show you this. This is the other reason why I didn't want to use this case. It's because that bottom one, when it's on, you can't put the Mavic into this case properly with those little rubber covers on. There's not enough room in these holes here. Worked fine in the orange case, but I've started to not use them. They've actually been sat on the shelf up there since I read about these squash props and this uncommanded descent issue. But, you know, it is a good little quad. It flies well. It does what it's supposed to do. And, you know, at the moment in time, I'm happy with mine. Until such a time, of course, that it does go wrong and it does something. But we know the issue is, well, they think the issue is with the propellers. I've got spare sets, so if I do get any kind of issue, hopefully I'm either not too high up, I'm not too far away, and I can get the Mini back safely to where I take off from, and obviously then deal with the props. But it is a good quad. The video quality is great, pictures are good quality. As I say, I'm not going to do a full review of it. There are hundreds of YouTube videos out there if you want to know exactly how good the Mavic Mini is against sort of other quads, etc. But for me, I'm definitely keeping this. I did put it on Marketplace to sell, and you know what, I thought, I can't, it's just too good a quad, it really is. So I decided to keep it, and I shall take this one and the Mavic Pro out with me and use this one for just general sort of shooting around, and that one for the long distance runs that I do. Well, that's it. The Mavic Mini, my sort of personal thoughts on it. Thanks very much for watching, take care, and I'll see you all again real soon.